Hello, my beautiful money-making friends. Scotty Taylor Jr. here. I am back again. And today, if you're watching on YouTube, hello. I'm happy you get to see the inside of my apartment. If you are listening to it on my podcast, then hello to your beautiful ears. I'm super excited today to talk with you all and share with you all of the intricate details of how I built a six-figure coaching business in 6 motherfucking months. Like I say that out loud and I'm like, how the fuck did I do that? So I sat down and I actually wrote out all of the things that came to me, how I built this business, the intentionality behind it, what I did, how I marketed, who I work with, how much money I'm making. I went through all of that. And I put together this beautiful little podcast / YouTube episode for you. So let's dig in. If you're ready, I'm ready. Here we go. Okay. So the first question to talk about, the first question for me to really dig into is, why did I decide to become a coach in the first place? So I consider myself a business / life coach. So I'm not like a fitness coach or anything like that. It's really more business / life / money, because that's really my area of expertise. That's really my passion. That's stuff that I'm excited about. And really, the reason I decided to become a coach was kind of a couple fold, right? The first reason was because I really like helping people one-on-one. Like, it's really fun to me. If you had asked me about a year ago, like, will you do one-on-one coaching? I would have said, fuck no, absolutely not. Because that's trading time for money. And my motto is work less, make more. So it's like, why would I trade my time for money, right? That's like very anti to the Scotty Taylor Jr. motto. But I learned a couple things in the process as I dug deeper and as I did start coaching. One, coaching is hugely beneficial for the clients that I work with, but it's also hugely beneficial for me as a human, because when you teach things, you really ingrain them deeper into your subconscious mind. And so having the opportunity to sit down with people and to teach them things was so and is so hugely beneficial for me, because I get to hear the problems that they deal with. I get to hear their intricate, like what's going on in their mind, what they need help with. I can work on crafting my language. So it's just all around super, super beneficial for both me and the coaching client that I'm working with, or whoever it is that I'm working with. And also it's more valuable in my mind than just talking to a friend or family member, because people value for what they pay for. People do not value things that are free. That's just the nature of it. If I charged money for this podcast episode, it would instantly be seen as more valuable to you versus if I gave it away for free. That being said, not everyone has the funds or ability to buy things all the time. That's why this is free. But the nature of it is, when somebody pays for something, you just find it more valuable. That's just the nature of human consciousness and behavioral finance. So when people are paying for coaching, they are invested in actually growing and learning. So I'm getting a real vision into their life, how they're feeling, how they're showing up. And I'm able to watch the transformation and help guide them through, which is so hugely beneficial for me, especially since one of my bigger, loftier goals is to create more online programs and online academies to teach people with different topics, different ideas, right? So that's really the catalyst for why I decided to become a coach, right? I wanted to learn more about what my target audience was dealing with. I wanted to create a relationship with people where I could actually watch the transformation. I wanted to perfect my coaching style and what I teach and why I teach it. I wanted to learn more about building an online program and an online academy and an online presence by learning really the intricate details of what people are dealing with, my target audience specifically. And last but not least, I like the consistency of the income. Considering the fact that I'm a financial advisor and my income is not steady on a month-to-month basis, it's really nice to get paychecks, or, well, they're not technically paychecks. I just charge clients ad hoc, periodically throughout the month. It's really nice to get, $8,000, $10,000 a month of recurring revenue, where I can show up and I can do certain things, provide the service, receive the compensation. Whereas in the financial advising world, let's say I talk to somebody and they decide not to use me as their financial advisor, which I don't know why anybody would. I'm just kidding. But if that does happen and they decide to go with a different advisor, I don't get paid. I don't get compensated for that. So outside the scope of this conversation, but I just thought that the idea of consistent income on a monthly basis was really attractive to me, right? So those are the reasons why I became a coach. Now, in terms of what I coach on, primarily, I coach other financial advisors on how to help them with their businesses. So how do they create their team? How do they prospect? How do they work on setting up their business as a business? I coach other service-based entrepreneurs. I even coach a few W-2 employees as well on their money mindset. Typically, they're in sales, they're in marketing. I coach them on the belief systems that they have, how to structure their time, how to scale their business, even in a 9-to-5 job. So that's typically the primary things that I end up focusing on with my one-on-one coaching clients. Not exclusively, but a lot of it is mindset work. A lot of it is the inner belief systems that say that we're not good enough or we can't have certain things. But it's also very tactical. So I'm a very tactical person. I make sure that there are activity sheets. I make sure that there is accountability. I make sure that whatever you say you're going to do, you hold yourself to it. I make sure that there's a business plan. Like I share my language. I share everything that I have. I'm a total open book with my coaching clients. They can ask me anything and I will share it with them, my systems, my processes, my thought processes, anything that they need. So that's basically why I decided to become a coach and what I coach in. And now I want to share with you all some of the most important pieces of how I built a 6-figure coaching business in 6 months, which again is crazy, crazy, crazy for me to think. Now, in my coaching currently, so this is December 2021, currently in my coaching, I am offering 2 coaching calls a month with my individual one-on-one coaching clients. They also get access to me via Voxer, which is a walkie-talkie app. They get email access to me. So I'm really more of a strategic partner than I am just like a 1 call a month kind of coach. I really want to help them on the day-to-day basis of things that they're dealing with. But also we have scheduled calls where we sit down, we do Zoom, we talk through things. Like I'm here for them in that regard. And one of the things that dawned on me a couple months ago when I brought up my coaching clients and I started building up my coaching clients was I was making about $6,000 a month at the time from one-on-one coaching clients. And I don't remember how many clients I had, but let's say I had 8, right? For example, because I wasn't, well, I'll just say 10. I'll just make it an easy number. I had 10 coaching clients and it was 2 hours per person per month, right? So 2 hours, like an hour every other week. And based on that, that's 20 hours a month, $6,000 a month, that's $72,000 a year. So I had this realization that my first job working at PricewaterhouseCoopers in corporate America, where I worked 60, 70, 80 hours a week, I was making $62,000. I now found a way of working 20 hours a month, right? So I'm talking about like 60 hours a week versus 20 hours a month to make $72,000 a year. And it like blew my mind. And I just like was filled with all this gratitude of like, holy fucking shit. How did I even do this? Like, how did this even happen? I'm gonna adjust my camera a little bit. And it was just like such an overwhelming thought process. I was like, you know what? I need to teach other people the same process because this is really fucking awesome. And I'm really, really grateful for the opportunity to be somebody else, like to coach other people out there. And so I want to teach you some of the similar things that I did to build up my coaching business to where it is now in such a short period of time. So the first thing, so I'm going to just dig right in, right? So if you have a notebook, if you have a pen, take notes. Without your phone, get your note section out and ready, because these are going to be some really good gems for you to just download, digest, and to work through if you want to start coaching, or if you want to start up any business, really any service-based business, and you want to figure out how you can get there as quickly as possible, really catapult into making more money right away, right? So the first thing I did was I wanted to coach in an area that I was specifically skilled at. So what that means is I did not go out and learn a new skill set. I did not go out and study books. I did not go out and talk to other coaches. I started coaching in an area that I was already really good at. Meaning I'm a really great financial advisor. I already run a multiple 6-figure financial planning practice. I have a team of 5. Like I know what I'm doing as an advisor. And so I decided, well, wait a minute. If I can do what I'm doing now, I can work 2, maybe 3 days a week. I can make a couple $100,000 in this business. I don't feel any stress. I don't feel any type of anxiety with my financial planning, but I used to, right? I remember 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I was fucking stressed the fuck out. Like I was so anxious and so stressed all the time. So I thought to myself, if I can go through a transformation myself, I want to teach other people that same concept. So, first and foremost, I ask you, what skill set or what knowledge do you already have that you can teach other people on? Right? This is not an opportunity for you to go back to school and learn a whole new skill set and then teach people. It's like, what have you been through already? What have you learned? What have you applied? What have you already understand and internalized and turned knowledge into wisdom that you can now teach other people? So if you lost 20 pounds, right, can you teach other working moms how to lose 20 pounds? If you are a photographer, can you teach people how to create different types of gradients in their photos? If you built up a big Instagram following, can you teach people how to use Instagram Reels or how to use Instagram carousels or posts? Like, what are the things that you're particularly skilled at? And this doesn't have to be a working scenario. Let's say you're a nurse and you just finished nursing degree, but let's say you passed all of your nursing exams in the first try. Maybe you can teach people a skill set or a study guide so that they can pass their nursing exams on the first try. So it doesn't have to be work specific. I want to get your brain churning. What are some areas that you are particularly skilled at, even if they're just for fun, even if they're just for entertainment, if they don't, even if they don't make money for the person, if they save them time or if they save them energy, or if they're just overarching like interesting topics, those could be great things for you to teach. The second thing is I solved a very fucking specific pain point. And this is so important. There's a big difference between I help advisors go to the next level. Like, what the fuck does that even mean? I help advisors go to the next level. Like, they're like, what level? What level am I at right now? Where am I going? Versus I help advisors learn how to prospect and become a farmer. So they're receiving referrals 24/7 without working for it. And I help them figure out ways of working less and making more in their specific business by automating, delegating, and eliminating different tasks. Like, do you see the specificity there? So I found pain points in the financial advising world, specifically prospecting, right? So prospecting, if you're not super aware, is the act of asking for referrals or getting referrals or receiving referrals. So most advisors, most service-based entrepreneurs, lawyers, technically doctors, anything like that, they would put up like a Yelp page, or they'd have a Google page, or they would ask their clients for referrals, right? But that's a really stressful idea for a lot of advisors, financial advisors or CPAs, to ask their clients for referrals. Like, it can be very stressful for them. So I said, hey, I will teach you a process to become a farmer so you can start receiving referrals easily without feeling stressed out. That's a fucking pain point that I know my target audience is feeling. So I ask you, what is a pain point that your target audience is feeling? Who is your target audience, right? Your target audience, at least in my recommendation, would be the 2 to 3 year version of you, like 2 to 3 years ago. So who were you 2 to 3 years ago? What problems were you facing? What difficulties were you challenged with? How'd you overcome them? And how can you teach that same methodology to people that are 2 to 3 years behind you? So I'm a couple of years in my business, bunch of years in my business as a financial advisor. I'm in my 30s, so I've been working for a long time. So the question is, how do you teach the 2 to 3 or even 4 to 5 year version ago of you for them to really step into their power and to learn the same process that you learned in order to, or that you applied in order to overcome this pain point? So the second thing is, a lot of advisors work really fucking hard. Like, a lot of advisors spend a lot of time working. It's like, you leave a 9 to 5 job and you end up working even more as an entrepreneur or as a business owner. And so I teach advisors how to really take a step back and stop working so damn much. And that really comes from a mindset shift of believing that it's okay to do that, as well as tactics of like setting up systems and processes, right? So again, I'm just addressing a pain point, really, really strong pain point in my target market. And they're like, oh shit, I need that. I want that, right? The other thing I did to build up this coaching business was I used myself as a test case for the previous year. So in 2020 and 2021, specifically really more so in 2021, I decided to stop prospecting. I stopped asking my clients for referrals. I didn't ask them for referrals. I didn't go out there for referrals. I just created an environment where I would receive referrals, right? So I created systems, I created energetic changes in my mind and in my business, and I started receiving referrals consistently. So I use myself as a test case for the previous year. So when I go to these advisors who I could potentially coach, I can tell them with full faith, I did this. I spent the last year doing this and it's fucking working for me. I'll teach you the same thing. So it's not like I'm going to teach an advisor how to do $5 million of revenue. I've never hit $5 million of revenue in my business. So I'm not going to teach them something that I don't know. I'm not going to teach them something that's outside of my own skill set. I'm going to teach them the specifics of what I've done in my business, right? So those are the keys to building up a coaching business to start, right? So identify your target market, somebody who's 2 to 3 years behind you. Be very specific in the service that you're providing. So what is it that you're selling the person? What is the pain point? And then speak the language of that person. This is a big one. This is marketing. This is like marketing 101, like radical marketing 101. You want to speak the language of your target client. So you want to make sure that you're messaging to a specific type of person, not just to everybody. If I had gone out into the world and I said, hey, I help financial advisors make more money, financial advisors would be like, okay, cool, but there's like 4 billion people that do that. If I'm like, hey, I am a financial advisor, I'll teach you the exact step-by-step method so that where I went from becoming a hunter prospector to a farmer prospector, where I now only work 2 days a week and I still make hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's a different message. And they're like, oh shit, I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you, Scott, right? So that's what I did to form the foundation of my coaching business. So like, what am I going to teach? How am I going to teach it? And I really went through like all the problems that I had faced and what I had overcome. And I really sat down and I spent some time thinking about that. And I created a list of all these different topics that I know were difficult for me at some point in time in my business, but I've since moved, I've been able to shift into a new mindset or shift into a new level of abundance. And now I want to teach other advisors the same things so that they can reach the same levels of success, right? So now I'm going to go into some more of the tactics of how I actually built this business and how I'm like making money and whatnot, right? So the first question is like, how do you get your clients? Right. And so I was very specific. I used LinkedIn. I used Sales Navigator on LinkedIn because it's a business networking website. And I searched for other advisors at my firm. And I targeted specific advisors in the LGBTQ space, people of color. I identified anybody that was a minority because I knew that as a gay man, I would be able to have a messaging that would resonate with them. Right. So if you're part of the LGBTQ community, you know that in the financial advising space, it's mostly straight white guys, mostly, that are financial advisors. It's just the truth, right? It's just the nature of the industry. And so if you're a woman or if you're a person of color or you're part of the LGBTQ community, you are most likely a minority in your office. And so I wanted to reach out to people that were similar to me that I could understand on an emotional level, empathetically, so that when I talk to them, I'm like, listen, I fucking get it. It's hard to be a minority in a majority like masculine, male dominated, straight, cis white man industry. Like, I get it, right? I mean, I am a white man, so I understand that there's still like, there's not that much difference in terms of me and like, well, I don't want to say that specifically, but the whole idea is that I wanted to make sure that there was an emotional connection of the people that I was working with, right? I can understand what they're going through to a degree, in the sense that somebody that doesn't feel like they're included can provide that emotional awareness or emotional openness to other people, right, that are in similar situations or scenarios. So the first thing I did was I went on Sales Navigator and I found like 30 to 40 people that were in the US that were advisors that were between 1 year and 5 years in the business. And I sat down and I crafted a very personalized email to them. And I wrote down like, hey, listen, this is some of the stuff that I see in the industry, right? It's dominated by white men. It's dominated by masculine energy. They say this, they do this, they do this. And I really just came in and I just provided value to these people. I basically I wrote an email and I just provided value to them. And I was like, listen, these are some of the things that I've seen in the financial advising world. I didn't ask for anything in return. I basically just said, listen, I've hit hundreds of thousands of dollars. I only work 2 days a week. If you're interested in learning more about coaching, I'm happy to hop on a 15-minute call and talk more about it. Right. So it was a very easy email. If nothing else, they would have read it and it would have been beneficial to them. They would have found it to be enlightening, beneficial, interesting, maybe like a breath of fresh air, right? I recognize that the email was different than a lot of other coaches. And so I sent that email out and I just started scheduling 15-minute calls. And of those 30 emails I sent out, I got about 15 people that said they wanted to have an intro call, which is a very, very, very high hit ratio for cold emails. Like, these people don't know me. These are cold emails. We work at the same company, so it's not like, maybe it's lukewarm, it's not cold, but it's not like I just, it's not like I was friends with them and I had talked to them before. I just was emailing them out of nowhere. So then during the intro call or the approach call, I was super, super interested in understanding, what are they dealing with? What are their pain points? What are their frustrations? And after listening to them and their frustrations, I would then talk about how I could solve their problems, right? So everybody wants a path or a solution that's going to make their life easier. So when I went into these intro coaching conversations, I was very tactical with, like, how can I solve the problems that you're dealing with? And I was also very tactical and thought oriented to make sure that I wasn't going to promise things that I couldn't do. If someone's like, yeah, I have a really hard time, like, for example, doing outside business, like doing business outside of the Northwestern Mutual space, it's not really my area of expertise. I'm not going to try to teach somebody that. Or somebody's like, hey, I need an accountability partner to email me or call me every morning. I'm like, that's not me. I want to make sure that this is a mutual fit, that I'm not going to promise something that I can't deliver. So I was very clear on my value proposition. I was very clear on the services that I could provide. I talked to them about my story, my passion. I was super authentic. And that really resonated with people. The more authentic that I could be, the more people were like, fuck, this is great. I really appreciate that. And so from those conversations, I brought on like 8 or 9 coaching clients in the span of like literally 3 months, like 3 months. And so this is the great part. My first coaching client that I brought on, December of 2020, was the initial time that I started taking on coaching clients. I remember emailing a bunch of people and I was offering them coaching sessions for $124 an hour. So I'm going to talk about pricing now, right? So how do you build a 6-figure business? Well, you have to have a premium price point unless you want to do a lot of fucking work, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's all about what you choose to do. So my first emails to my first coaching clients were $124 a month. I was like, listen, I'll give you a special deal, $124 a month. Honestly, I was so terrified. I was like, what the hell am I even doing? Why am I even sending out these emails? What are these people even going to get from my coaching? Like, I didn't even have any idea. I was totally winging it. I didn't have a concrete game plan. I didn't know how I was going to coach them. I was like, I don't really fucking know, but I know I want to coach people. So I just started sending emails, knowing that if I fumbled or if I messed up, like, it was okay. Worst case scenario, somebody asked for a refund and then we move on. It's not the end of the world, right? So I started sending these emails and I got my first 2 coaching clients at $124 an hour. I did those sessions at $124 an hour. And then right after it, I was like, this does not feel good. This is so cheap for me personally, right? I had been making, double, like $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 in my financial planning. And now I'm charging $124 an hour. I'm like, this feels like a steal of my time. Like, it just doesn't feel super worth it to me. So I tapped in, I meditated, and I was like, well, what feels right? What feels good for me to charge? Like, what number resonates? What number can I get behind? And this is, I think, where a lot of people don't really know how to navigate the pricing conversation. They're like, should I charge more? Should I charge less? And you can definitely do market research. I certainly did market research. I looked around to what other coaches were charging. My coach was charging me $2,500. My first coach charged me $400. I know other coaches that charge about $1,000 a month, like for one hour a month. Like, I did some competitive research to kind of get a general idea. And then I said to myself, okay, well, 124 feels very low. So let me double that to 250. So I did 250 for about a month. And I was like, you know what? 250 still feels low. It just wasn't resonating with me. It wasn't making me excited to work with the people, right? And this has to be an equal trade of value. So the amount of money that you charge is fucking irrelevant. It doesn't matter how much money you charge your clients. It matters if you feel like you're giving adequate value for the amount of money that you're charging, right? So if you charge somebody $10,000 a month or $100,000 a month or $5,000 a month or $100 a month, none of it matters. It's just that do you and the other person paying feel like there's an adequate reciprocal amount of value being added, right? Like for the services that I'm providing, do I feel good? Do I feel like this is worth my time? And do I feel like I'm actually giving the right amount of value for the amount that I'm charging, right? Internally. So then I went from 250 to then I was at 250 and then I went up to 580. So I doubled again to 580. And I was at 584 for a little bit. And I was like, you know what? I'm getting so many people are saying yes. I'm like, I have to change my prices again. So I increased them to $700 a month per client. And 700 felt good. 700 felt solid. But then after a while, I looked at my numbers and I started thinking about like, how much money do I want to make from coaching? Right? I was making $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, sometimes $50,000 a month from financial planning. So I'm like, well, I want to make about $10,000, $20,000 from coaching. And I was like, well, I don't want to necessarily put in more time. So I once again raised my prices again up to $1,000 a month. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm actually at $1,200 per month. And so I do have clients that are paying $350. I have clients paying $700. I have clients paying $1,000. I have clients paying $1,200 because as I've grown, I've started increasing my prices. But I will tell you from firsthand experience, the amount of money I charge has no basis for why I would charge certain amounts of money other than it feels right for me. And that's all that fucking matters to me. It doesn't matter to me if I charge $500 or $10,000. Eventually I'll start to increase my prices more and more and more. But remember, when you coach somebody and you're giving them value, you're not just getting paid for your hour of time or your however long the coaching session is. You're being paid for all of the knowledge and insight and the synthesis of information and the application of information that you've had from years of experience. So you're paying for all that experience and all that wisdom for the person to be able to really clearly and really simply describe to you what to do moving forward for you. So you're not paying somebody for an hour just to sit there and, and do nothing. Like you're paying them for all the experience and all the knowledge and all the insight that they're then applying to the coaching conversation, right? So long story short, basically, I decided I want to become a coach. And this is really how I built up my coaching business so quickly, so fast. I decided I wanted to be a coach. I picked a target market. I really clearly identified the pain points. I found a very easy and simple way of contacting my ideal client. I crafted messaging that was super, super authentic and resonated with them. I blocked off the time in my calendar and I created a mantra to say, I make $10,000 a month from coaching clients. I make fucking $10,000 a month from coaching clients. I just repeated that mantra and I manifested it. And then when I got on coaching calls, I released the end result. This is Manifestation 101. I talk about that more in some of my courses and in my freebies. I'm not going to go into it here, but I went into the coaching conversations knowing that I was going to provide a ton of value, but not holding so tightly onto somebody saying yes or no. I just released it. I was like, you know what? If they say yes, awesome. If they say no, awesome. It doesn't matter to me. I'm proud of me for showing up, for being authentic, for asking for what I want. And I know that I can add value. And that confidence is so attractive to a potential coaching client. I don't go into my coaching client sessions and I'm like, I might be able to help in this area. I might be able to help here. I'm not really sure. No, I'm super clear. I'm like, listen, this is the value you're going to get. It's going to be super beneficial. You're going to be blah, 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 right? It's all this stuff that I'm super clear on so that the coaching client is like, fuck yeah, like I want to work with you, right? And so in the process, if you decide to become a coach, if you decide to start any other service-based business, I really urge you to focus on what is the desired end result. Keep that in mind. Keep focusing on the end result. Number two, what pain point or problem can you solve for your ideal client, for your target market? And number three, how can you build up the internal confidence and decide what you're worth, whether it's through market research, whether it's through this conversation? Pick a number that feels good and just know that you can always pivot in the future if you need to. So Right now, I hold space for 13 one-on-one coaching clients. I have about 9 right now. So some people come and some people go. I'm currently making around $8,000 a month from the coaching, 8,000 times 12 months, $100,000 a year. It's actually like 96, but I sell my online courses and all that's included. And sometimes some months I have more coaching clients, things like that. I have one-off coaching clients. So long story short, I'm sure that when 2021 ends, I will put together a full breakdown of all the income that I earned. But that is how I build on my coaching business so quickly and so effectively. And yeah, I hope that was super helpful. I hope that the whole conversation has sparked some interest or idea in your mind of how you could potentially become a coach or how you could start charging for your services no matter what you do. I love you. I'm proud of you. If you need anything, feel free to reach out to me and my team, assistant@scottytaylorjr.com, or you can reach out to me on Instagram. It's at Scotty Taylor Jr. That's SCOTTIE is how I spell it. I love you. Have an amazing rest of your day. Mwah! And can't wait to see you next time.